Number 1 says which of the following are linear functions. Now, yesterday when people were working on this on their own, I know there was some confusion. People were just trying to decide if they were a function by looking at the x's as boys, the y's as girls, and seeing if they cheated. That's not what this question is about. They're all functions. All 5 of those are functions. They want to know which ones are linear, which means have a constant rate of change, a constant slope. So there are 3 ways to determine if that is the case. The first way is to look at the pattern in the x column. How do you get from a -2 to a -1? You add 1. How do you get from -1 to 0? Add 1. How do you get from 0 to 1? Add 1. And how do you get from 1 to 2? Add 1. Let's see if the y's are constant. That's considered constant. Did the same thing every time. Now let's see if the y's are. -11 plus 3 is -8. -8 plus 3 is -5. -5 plus 3 is -2. And -2 plus 3 is +1. That means this is linear. And its slope would be 3 over 1. Because think about it. Isn't the slope formula where you do y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1? So y's are in the top, x's are in the bottom. So that's why 3 went in the top, because that's your y value. And then 1 went in the bottom, because that's what was going on with the x values. Now, say that you didn't want to do it that way. You could pick these 2 points and these 2 points, and you could calculate the slope. Okay, so if you have -2, -11, and you have -1, -8, and you calculate the slope, that would be x1, y1, x2, y2. So when you plug them in the slope formula, it would be -8 minus -11 over -1 minus -2. That becomes a plus, because a minus a negative is a positive, and -8 plus 11 is 3. Same thing we got when we looked at the pattern. -1 plus 2 is a +1. Same thing we got when we looked at the pattern. Now, if you're doing it that way, you have to do 2 different sets of points. So like we have to pick another 2 points and do the slope formula, which this is the longest way to do it. 0, -5, and 1, -2. So that would be the x1, y1, x2, y2. So when you plug it in, you would do -2 minus -5 over 1 minus 0. That becomes a plus, and -2 plus 5 is 3. 1 minus 0 is 1. And see how even though the first time you used these 2 points, you got 3 over 1, and the second time you calculated slope, you used these 2, and you still got 3 over 1? That confirms that it's linear. There's a constant rate of change. So A is the right answer because it's linear. Now, another way you could do this, can I erase this? Is you could graph it. On your scratch paper that you're getting tomorrow with your username and password, on the back of it, I ran off just 4 graphs. That way, if there's something that you want to put on a graph to see visually, you can. So, since I don't have a graph right here this second, because I don't think, let me try to paste and see if that was the last thing I copied. Oh, no. Okay, so I'll just quickly sketch a graph. I mean, it's not going to be nice because it's just going to be y and x-axis. But if I were plotting the point -2, -11, wouldn't that be left 2, down 11? None. No, I'm just saying this is another option for those of you who struggle with the first 2 options. -2, -11 is left 2, down 11. -1, -8 is left 1, down 8, which would be 8, 9, 10, so right there. 0, -5 is just down 5. 1, -2 is right 1, down 2. And 2, 1 is right 2, up 1. Don't those points that we just plotted form a straight line? So that's another, well, this is because my graph isn't perfect, but if you were graphing this on graph paper, that would be perfectly lined up, which is another way you can confirm that this is a linear function. Okay, so let's look at B. We need to determine if it's linear, because this said shoot or circle all that apply. So there could be more than one right answer. Alright, let's do the pattern way first. In the X column, what's going on every time? Add 1, add 1, add 1, add 1. In the Y column, to get from 2 to 4, you have to add 2. But to get from 4 to 8, you have to add 4. And then to get from 8 to 16, you have to add 8. And then 16 to 32, you have to add 16. So, I mean, there is a pattern, but it's not a linear one. To be linear, it has to be the same number every time. So this is not a right answer. You wouldn't choose that one. It's not linear. This is what we call an exponential function. It's doubling every time. And if you plotted those points on a graph, you would see that they're not a straight line. They would curve for this exponential. C and D, you do the same way, but they're not given to you in a table. They're given to you as a list of values. But you still do it the same way. Start by looking at each x value first. To get from one x value to the next, what's going on? You're adding 2. So wouldn't that mean it has a run of 2 because x is still on the bottom? And then to get from one y to the next, what's going on? Down by 2 every time. 7 minus 2 is 5. 5 minus 2 is 3. 3 minus 2 is 1. 1 minus 2 is -1. And it happens every time. So the rise is -2. So that would be the slope of this line. And it's linear because it does the same thing every time. Does that make sense? Okay, let's see if D is linear. Look at your x values first. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's good. Well, let's look at the y's. -10 to -5 is an increase of 5 units. And then -5 to 0 is an increase of 5 units. But then 0 to -5 is a decrease of 5. That's not what we're talking about. They're all functions. Okay, they're all functions. Nobody cheated because they're all functions. We're just trying to decide which of them are linear. This one's not linear because first it goes up 5, up 5, but then it goes down 5, down 5. It doesn't have a constant slope, so it's not linear. Am I making sense? E and F are the easiest. You don't have to do any work, you just look at it. Is E a linear function? Of course it is. It's a straight line, linear line. Is F a linear function?
No.
Guys, is that a straight line? No. Okay, let me try to clear up this confusion. Listen. Okay, it's a function. It passes the vertical line test, but that's not a linear function. That's a quadratic function. It's a parabola. Linear has to make a straight line. Both of these are functions. Both of them would pass the vertical line test. They don't want to know if it's just a function. They want to know if it's a linear function. That's a linear function. This is a quadratic function. It forms a parabola, not a line. Now does that make sense? Okay, number 2. Let's move on. Write an equation to describe the linear function below. Okay, so our goal is to write an equation of a line. An equation of a line is always in what form? Y equals mx plus b. So, the only difference is, instead of y equals, they just chose to go with f of x equals. It's the same thing. So we need a m and we need a b. What's the easiest to find? The b, which is the y-intercept. Where does this graph cross the y-axis? Positive 3. So your b is a positive 3. How do you now figure out the m? Pick 2 points. Now, the line doesn't give you the points. You have to figure out where they are. Like right here is a nice place to put a point. Right here at the x-intercept. Down here. It doesn't matter where you put them. You just need to put them in nice whole number places. So to get from any of those points to the next, how many do you have to rise? 3. And how many do you have to run? So is a rise of 3, a run of 2. And there's your equation of that line. Yes? Move on. Number 3. Below is a table of a partial set of values of a linear function. Don't let words like that confuse you. Think about it. A linear function goes forever, right? So there's a lot of points on it. These are just a few of the points they chose off of it. Okay, that's what it means by partial set. That just means these are some of the points on the line, but not all of them because the line goes forever. They want you to find the slope. Well, we all know to find the slope, you use the slope formula, which you better all know tomorrow. Okay, because look right over there. Okay, so to be able to use this formula, though, you have to use what? 2 points. So out of these, which points would you like to use? Okay, that's fine. You can use any you want. I would try my best to stay away from negatives, but I mean, all of them had at least one negative except that one, so just pick whatever you think works best for you. So, that would be the x1, and that would be the y1, and that would be x2, y2. Now just plug them in where they go. Remember, there's always a minus. That's part of the formula. Now you just plug in y2, which is 1, and y1, which is negative 1. And you plug in x2, which is 9, and x1, which is 6. A minus a negative becomes a plus, and so the numerator becomes a 2. A 9 minus 6 becomes a 3, so the slope is 2/3. Now let me show you another way you could have figured that out. Do the pattern. Each x value is going up by what? 3. Okay, see how they're jumping by 3? So the run, because x is going to the bottom of the equation, is 3. And then each y value is going up by 2. That's why your rise is 2. So that's even a faster way of doing it without having to plug in the slope formula. Okay, number 4. The graph below shows the distance and I'm going to change this to road, like rode a bike, because these answers, only that one really makes sense for driving, and that's not the right one. So I'm going to say road, because she's riding a bike on vacation. What was her average rate of change between hours 2 and 6? Well, what are they asking for when they ask for average rate of change? Slope. They're asking for slope. And we all know that the slope formula is y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Well, to be able to use that formula, you have to have 2 points. Now, they gave us the points they want us to use, though. They said between hour 2 and hour 6. On the x-axis, hour 2 is right there, and hour 6 is right there. So you need to go up to where the graph is and find its corresponding y value. So the first point is what? 2, 100. And then the second point is 6, 150. And so that's your x1, y1, and your x2, y2. And so you just plug them in. y2 is 150 minus y1 is 100 over x2 is 6 minus x1 is 2. 150 minus 100 is 50, and 6 minus 2 is 4. But do you see an answer in the choices that says 50 over 4? So maybe in your calculator you should do 50 divided by 4 and see what it is. 12.5. Okay, you can't just reduce the fraction to 25 over 2 because the answers aren't in fraction form. You need to actually divide it out and get the decimal value of it. Okay, next page. Okay, next page. Number 5. Julie makes necklaces and sells them to raise money for summer camp. She spent $55 buying supplies to make the necklaces. She sells each necklace for $10. Choose all the sets below that could not represent. Okay, keyword not represent. So you're looking for the ones that wouldn't work for domain. Well, to figure this out, it's probably best to start by figuring out what domain is in this problem. And to do that, you need to make up the equation for it. To write the equation for this scenario, it would be y equals what? What? Well, yeah, it's going to be an mx plus b form, but what's the m and the b? I know, but specifically, with those numbers. Not plus 55, minus 55, because she already spent that money. Okay? So she's making $10 per necklace, But to find out her profit, doesn't she have to take off the 55 she already spent to figure out her real profit? So now, think about what I said, $10 per necklace. So X represents necklace, right? And isn't X also domain? So when they ask about domain, they're asking about number of necklaces. Well, can you have -2 necklaces sold? No, but that's the right answer because they're asking for not represent. That's tricky. You really got to pay attention to the words. Okay, B, right, because this is one of those choose all that apply. Choose all the sets below. Can you sell 0.5 of a necklace? No, you cannot. So it would not represent the domain. So it's the right answer. C and D could represent the domain. She could sell 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But they're looking for not represent, so that's why those were not the right answers. I don't like questions like that, but unfortunately, you're going to have them from time to time. You've just got to read the question well. You're looking for the ones that would not be a good thing for domain, and you couldn't have -2 necklaces, you couldn't have 0.5 necklace, so those are the answers, because not. Okay, number 6. Which inequality best represents the domain of the function shown in the graph? Well, when you hear the word domain, what pops in your head immediately? X, okay, X values, or X-axis, which kind of is common sense because look, every single answer choice has an X. X-axis runs left to right. If you're on this line and you go to the left side, the furthest you can go is right here, correct? Which has an X value of -3. Okay, that one has a -3, that one has a -3, A and B are out. If you're on this line and you travel to the right side of it, the furthest you can go is here, which is 5. They both have 5 though. So what's the difference between these two? Right, these have equal to bars, these don't. Weren't these both closed circles? So it's C with the equal to bars. You actually equal -3. It was a closed circle at it. And it equals 5 because there was a closed circle at it. Okay, number 7. Which inequality best describes the range of the function shown on the graph? Okay, well, when you hear the word range, you immediately think of y values, y-axis, up and down. Okay, remember, when you're doing range, you say how far down can you go on the graph, and then how far up can you go. How far down can you get on this graph? -2, and it's a closed circle there, so bracket. How far up can you go? Infinity, because that's that arrow, as that's going to the right, isn't it also slowly going up? Now, our answer choices are not written in this notation, so which answer choice means the same thing? Well, first of all, it's range. So can't we eliminate A because it has an X and D because it has an X? And then which one of these means -2 to infinity? Less than or equal to -2 or greater than or equal to -2? Which one? C. Think about it. Isn't every part of this line greater than -2 or equal to it? So greater. Okay, number 8. Which best represents the range represented in this graph? Well, again, range is y values, which is down to up. How far down could you go if you were on that graph? Infinity, and since it's down, it's -infinity. How far up could you get? Right here, which has a y value of -2. So which one do you think it is? B. Okay, number 9. Using the graph below, identify the following characteristics. Domain, we all know is X values, so left to right. If you're on this line and you travel left, you can go how far? Forever. So -infinity. If you want to travel right, how far could you go? Positive infinity. Range is y value, so down to up. How far down could you go? Forever down, which is -infinity. How far up could you go? Positive infinity. All linear functions will always have that domain and range, except for vertical and horizontal lines. Okay? Alright, x-intercept. What's the definition of an x-intercept? Correct. And so that would be right here. And how do we write the coordinates of that point? -2, 0. Remember, when you're writing the coordinates of a point, it's always the x value first, then the y value. You go to x, or you go to -2 on the x-axis. So that's why -2 is there. And then you don't move up or down, so that's why the y value is 0. So what would the y-intercept be for this one? 0, 3. Okay, x, arrow, infinity. What does that mean? Okay, well, let's think about what the x is. What directions does the x-axis run? So positive infinity would be what direction? Right. X approaches negative infinity would be left. Think about it. X only runs left and right, so positive's right, negative's left. So if you're on this line and you travel to the right side of it, you're going up, so positive infinity. If you travel left, you're going down, so negative infinity. Number 10. Using the graph below, identify the x and y-intercept. We just did the same one. The x-intercept was at -2, 0, and the y-intercept was at 0, 3. Alright, number 11. Identify the maximum and minimum from the graph. Okay, well, isn't that the lowest point on the graph, which is called the minimum? And what are the coordinates of that point? -1, -2, because you always do the x value first and the y value second. And then what's the maximum point? Infinity. So you couldn't find a maximum point, right? So the correct answer is B. Okay, next question, number 12. Which function, if any, has a constant rate of change? That means a constant slope. So let's look at each one. In this one, the x's are doing what? Every single time they're going up by 1, right? So up 1 for all of them. What's going on in the y's? Down 4, down 8, down 16, down 32. Is that constant? No. But to be linear, to have a constant rate of change, it has to be the exact same number every time. So that one's no. So A's out. Let's look at D. Look, this is the same list. That's up 1. That's the same as that one. But then look at the y's. First you go up 7, but then you go up 6. So already we know it's out because it wasn't consistent. So B's out. Okay, this one, same list for x's. They're all going up by 1. But now let's look at the y's. From -44 to -38 is an increase of 6. -38 to -32 is an increase of 6. -32 to -26 is an increase of 6. And -26 to -20 is an increase of 6. So that's a constant rate of change. That's a linear function. These weren't. Okay, this was exponential, and this was nothing. Okay, next page. Number 13. Which function has a domain of only positive values? Domain is, so we're looking for positive x values. Does that table, number 1, have only positive x values? No, look right here. Those are negative, so A's out. Does this line graphed on here only have positive x values? No, every single point over here we have a negative x value. Kate paints pictures on a regular basis. She had made 3 paintings in February and plans to paint 1 more each month. Would that have only positive x values? Yes, because you can only paint positive amounts of pictures. You can't paint a negative amount of pictures. So C is correct. Number 14. Given the partial set of values of the linear functions f of x and g of x, you're going to find the rate of change for each and then compare them. Rate of change is the same thing as slope. So we're going to have to use the slope formula. You're going to have to use that formula a lot tomorrow. Okay, to be able to use that formula, you have to have what? 2 points. You have to have 2 points to use that formula, right? Well, let's do f of x first, which is this one. What 2 points would you like to use from that table? Okay, 0, 6, 1, 9 works good. So wouldn't that be 9 minus 6 over 1 minus 0, which is 3 over 1, which simplifies to 3. Now you quickly try to find the rate of change for the g of x function. Okay, which points did y'all choose? 4, negative 1, and 6, 2. Okay, so that would be 2 minus negative 1, which is 2 plus 1, over 6 minus 4, and that becomes 3 over 2, which is b. Which of these functions has the greater rate of change? B, f of x. Because 3 over 2 is what as a decimal? 1.5. Doesn't 2 go into 3 1.5 times? And isn't 3 bigger than that? So that's the greater rate of change. This would be the steeper line. Okay, the bigger your slope is, the steeper the line. Okay, next page. Find the first 4 terms of this sequence. This is very easy, but we didn't do a lot of them with the number right here. Okay? Well, first of all, they want the first term. What's the first term? 10. But you're not simply adding 3, okay, because of that 1/2. So this is what you have to do. Watch, it's easy. If you just watch, it's easy. 1/2, right here where that a sub n minus 1 is, you plug in 10. What's 1/2 of 10? What's 5 plus 3? 8. So to find the next number, you just plug in an 8 right here. What's half of 8? 4 plus 3? 7. So to find the next term, you plug in 7 right here. What's half of 7? 3.5 plus 3? 6.5. Okay, I will go over one like that tomorrow right before just to help you remember how to do that. Number 16. Write the function for the table below. Use correct notation. When they say write the function, they're saying write the equation in y equals mx plus b form. Now, what they mean by use correct notation is they didn't use a y for this column, they used f of x, so they want you to write f of x equals. Okay, well what's the b? Negative 14. Isn't your b always where your x is 0? That's your y-intercept. And then how do you find your m? Choose 2 points, calculate the slope. Okay, so negative 12 minus negative 14 over 2 minus 0, that becomes a plus. Negative 12 plus 14 is 2, 2 minus 0 is 2, so a slope of 1. Alright, number 17, easiest question on the test. Describe the pattern in the sequence and then find the next 3 terms. What's going on? You're adding 3, so that gets rid of b and c. What would the next term be? 39, then the next term, and then the next term. So it's d. Alright, number 18. Given the sequence 7, 4, 1, negative 2, write the explicit formula and find the 50th term. The explicit formula is a sub n equals d times n minus 1 plus a sub 1. What 2 parts do you have to plug in for? Okay, what is a sub 1? What's d? Negative 3. So it'll be a sub n equals d, which is negative 3, times n minus 1 plus a sub 1, which is 7. Then what do you do? Right, you're going to distribute. So negative 3 times n is negative 3n. Negative 3 times negative 1 is positive 3. Then bring down the plus 7, and that becomes a sub n equals negative 3n plus 10. Yeah, so now they want us to find a sub 50. So a sub 50 would be when you plug in 50 for the n. What's 3 times 50? I mean negative 3 times 50? Negative 150. And what's negative 150 plus 10? Negative 140. Okay, because when you're adding, you're getting back closer to 0. Alright, number 19. Shelby's printer had 1,000 sheets of paper in it. After Monday, there were 953, so I'm just going to start creating this list. After Tuesday, there were 906. After Wednesday, there were 859. So after Thursday, there would be A12, because yes, they're going down by 47, and then after Friday there would be 765. Okay, next page. What is the ninth term of the arithmetic sequence defined by this formula? Guys, you don't have to distribute it out and combine like terms because they're not asking for the explicit formula down here. They just want to know the ninth term. So plug in 9 for n. What's 9 minus 1? What's 8 times 1/4? What's a quarter of 8? 2. And what's 2 plus 2? 4. Or if you can't do all that in your head, just put the 9 there and then type it in the calculator just how it looks. Number 21. Write an explicit formula for this sequence. Well, to write the explicit formula, you have to know what two things? The A sub 1 and the D. What is the D this time? -7. They're all going down by 7, so the common difference is -7. What is the A sub 1? 9. So it'll be A sub n equals D, which is -7, times n minus 1 plus A sub 1, which is 9. You'll then distribute. -7 times n is -7n. -7 times n is -7n. -7 times -1 is +7. Bring down your +9. Then you can combine those like terms, 7 and 9, and you will end up with A sub n equals -7n plus 16, which is D. Make sure you study.